about its future?
مقاومات أو مقومات المقاومة عند أي إنسان بشكل خاص عند السجناء تتباين وتتعدد أيضا.
Resistance, or elements of resistance, in any human being, especially in prisoners, vary. Some of our attempts in trying to defeat the prison, I think, succeeded to an acceptable degree. We are in prison, but will the prison defeat us, or will we defeat it?
ولكن هل سيهزمنا السجن أم سنهزمه؟
Let me define the prison. That it is a constant attempt to abolish meaning, to abolish the meaning of the prisoner, to abolish his being, to abolish something and to abolish meaning at all. Imprisonment means a state akin to nothingness, while meaning is closer to life. This vile prison is to cancel the meaning. To confront the prison is to try hard to create meaning. Creating meaning can be done with a poem, a painting, a song, or music in many ways. All musicians say that without singing and music, they would not have endured prison. We would have come out psychologically devastated. We created a state of balance from a sense of meaning, from a sense of beauty. Imprisonment, or tyranny in all its forms, is the champion of ugliness, champion of robbery, negative dimension at all levels. The prisoner must create antidotes. I used to say that poetry for me is the most beautiful freedom bird. It is the most beautiful exercise.
So Chuck, I'm worried about you because we blew your mind today.
Yeah.
And your voice went up 3 octaves in reaction. So.
Actually, we discovered things that basically gave me a small stroke.
Okay. So I don't mean to laugh at that fact, but deep physics mixed with the universe, we call that astrophysics.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And there's nothing like it in the universe.
Smoke some weed for this one.
Check it out. Coming up. Welcome to Star Talk, your place in the universe where science and pop culture collide. Star Talk begins right now. This is Star Talk. Neil deGrasse Tyson, your personal astrophysicist. Chuck Nice, right here with me.
Hey, Neil.
All right, man. You know what we're going to do today?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got a good one.
We got a good one. You remember what happened to UFOs? They got rebranded by the government to UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. Yeah. And I had an inside guy on that operation. Let me introduce all of you to my friend and colleague, David Spergel. David.
Pleasure to be here.
Welcome to Star Talk. Dude, we came up together in graduate school and we intersected more thoroughly when I was a postdoc at Princeton. And he was on the faculty there and then became chairman. And I knew him when he was just a scientist. Oh. Now he's running everything.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
I'm looking at what my boy is running. So you chaired NASA's UAP, Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, Independent Study Team. You chaired that. But that's not, you're president of the Simons Foundation. We'll get more into that later. You chaired the science definition team for the Nancy Grace Roman telescope. Okay? We'll get more about that if we have time. And you're also on the board of trustees of the Carnegie Institute for Science. Carnegie, isn't that the same group where Edwin Hubble worked for them?
Yep.
This is a long legacy.
Long and really impressive tradition.
So David, how did you morph from Mr. Head Honcho Scientist, big man on campus, to alien UFO guy for Congress?
Approached it the way we approach scientific questions. approach it the way things we don't understand. So you look at the data you have, and you realize much of the data could be explained. Balloons, drones, anything with flashing lights is an airplane. You know, aliens who are coming here who want to be hidden don't put flashing lights on them.
Right.
On their UFOs.
Exactly. Like undercover cops. They don't you don't see an undercover cop in a marked police car
With sirens
with
and-
sirens blazing and lights flashing. Right.
Okay. But that doesn't preclude the possibility that
No.
an alien craft
No.
would have flashing lights. In fact, the mothership in Close Encounters of the Third Kind had tons of flashing
Was
lights.
nothing but flashing
Nothing but
lights.
flashing lights.
It was like a doggone disco in the sky.
It was a disco
crazy.
ball in the sky.
Yeah, I'm not sure flashing lights really make sense for a spaceship.
Okay.
But anyway, there's a bunch of things that look, when you look at them carefully, they're camera defects. I think we've all taken pictures of people where the sun glint got in and ruined the picture.
Correct.
So there's some like
Lens
that.
flare.
Lens flares, right? And then you go through.
I think if that's happening a million times a day,
Right.
something in there is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
You're going to find Jesus in one of the
Absolutely.
lens flares.
Yes.
Right.
That's my religion.
And then you look through that, and then there are some things we don't understand.
Okay.
Right. So there's some events,
Approximately what fraction?
about 1%.
1%.
1%.
All right.
Okay.
It's about 1% of the events, and the military had a study that went through this. We used a lot of their work. About 1% are not understood.
Wait, can we back up for a second? Who appointed this committee?
NASA.
NASA. Okay, gotcha.
So this is to
And-
give advice to NASA on how they could help advance our understanding.
Was this requested by Congress?
No, it was requested by the head of NASA.
Okay, so NASA
right.
wants to play in the sandbox.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. hmm
And,
And NASA is among the most transparent agencies.
Absolutely.
in the go- and among
And they
the
have
most
no
trusting.
reason to. They don't have an agenda.
and
Right.
there was nothing about our study that was classified. I have no clearances. So we can talk openly about everything we did. And we looked at what the events that we didn't understand, that
By the way,
1%.
when you have the highest level of clearance, that's what you would say. You say I don't have any clearance.
But I don't have any clearance.
That's exactly what a high clearance person would say. No, go on.
The data was ambiguous. We
Okay.
didn't understand it, but it wasn't like it was something clear. And one of the points we made was, as scientists,
Again, this is the 1% that we don't know what they are.
yeah,
Yes. Okay.
yeah, no, and when you don't understand something, you don't jump to the most exciting conclusion.
Right.
You don't say it's got to be aliens. You look at it and say something I don't know, but you don't ignore it either. Right? You should not ignore things you don't understand. If there are things you don't understand, what do you want to do? Get better data. And that really was our message to NASA. If they wanted to contribute to this, they should help get better data. Right now, everyone is carrying in their back pocket a device that takes really high quality digital images,
Yes.
accurately records the time,
Yes.
measures GPS position,
Correct.
measures the local magnetic field, measures the local gravitational field.
They do all that.
It does all that. That's why it knows how you're orienting your phone.
Clearly, that's not an Android.
So hey, I've got an iPhone. I think, and there are billions of them around the
Wait,
planet.
so wait, you're saying when it knows which way is north, is it using the magnetic north, or is it correct? It's got to correct for that.
It's got to correct.
Okay, so it
it's
knows
got-
where I am on Earth.
Right.
Corrects for the
For
magnetic
the magnetic
anomaly,
north.
is what we call
Right.
it. And then it
And then
gets
gives you the true north.
the true north. Good.
Okay.
Yep, and gets it. It is really amazing what that device measures you from. And if you can imagine, if we had pictures of something we didn't understand, taken by citizens from a whole bunch of different perspectives, you can
Different sightlines.
Different sightlines. You'd be able to reconstruct the event
Okay.
to know how fast the object is moving, how far away it is.
And not be susceptible to someone's capacity to interpret what they see.
That's right.
Right.
So it's not a single blurry image, but tens of high quality images.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to worry about things like camera flares because you've got multiple cameras
images.
and multiple images.
Okay.
So our recommendation to NASA was to develop an app. And to develop
There's an app for that.
Oh my gosh!
Okay, what's the app?
It doesn't exist yet. So
Okay.
this was our recommendation
All right.
that they fund the development of something like this, and that they use this to collect more data.
So I'd have the app on my phone. I see something I don't understand. I take a picture, and the metadata in that image, I just upload it to the app in some simple way. We want to simplify it as much as possible, and then that goes to a central place. And then you can have people there that can correlate correlate the data.
And we said just try to make everything public.
So you're crowdsourcing the data gathering itself.
Yep.
Okay.
So
people are everywhere.
Yeah.
People are everywhere.
Right.
And I felt this was a teachable moment, a chance to say, what do we do as scientists? We collect data, we verify data, we check data quality. I did a bunch of TV interviews on this. As soon as I started talking about checking data quality, they ended the interview. They wanted to hear about aliens.
Don't be so boring, dude.
But it's like, you want to make sure that people didn't put in fake images.
I just love it. He's just like, of course, we gather data, we check data quality. They were like, this guy has integrity. Get him the hell out of here.
No, but what you're saying is, in an era where we have Photoshop and even more advanced, and even AI generating images, you want to make sure you need some way to authenticate what the camera caught.
And that didn't even occur to me. See how I'm thinking, yeah, you take a picture, but the fact is that those Photoshop type programs, they exist on your phone. You don't have to actually go. Right. Like, you could just hit a button on your phone and start manipulating an image right then and there. You had to go take it and import it someplace.
To your computer, mess with it, and put it back.
No, now you can just do it right when you take the picture. Yeah. So that makes sense.
No, I mean, it's not hard to take a picture, shaking the hand of a friend, and replace the picture of the friend with, I don't know, Dr. Spock, whoever your favorite alien is.
Yeah. That would be mine.
Spock was half alien.
That's true.
That's right.
Half Vulcan.
The mother was.
On this show, we have to be very accurate about that.
Mom was human. Dad was Sorak.
Yes,
that's all I'm saying. So you presented your results more than a year ago. What has happened since then?
You know, NASA's considering developing these things. To do that needs new money.
Oh yeah, okay. A little pot of money.
And last year was a very tough year for NASA's budget. NASA took a huge budget cut.
I remember that.
Yeah, so they had to cancel programs.
Yes.
So they were not about to start something new. I mean, when we started, they thought there'd be some new monies from Congress. They'd be able to say, here's a program that would go to the community. And we thought about that. It's like, here's something NASA could do that would involve citizens.
Yeah.
And they just, at a time at which they were canceling missions, they just did not want to do it.
Okay,
that's really a shame.
Because at least it's on the radar that it's something to do if money then becomes available.
Yep.
Okay.
In a way, don't you think that's a big mistake? Because here's what I'm picking up from what you're saying. You are immediately enlisting the public and getting people to focus on NASA. You're getting them excited about the one thing that everybody can agree is exciting, which is, are we being visited? And you're saying, okay, here's an app, get involved. Like, I would take money from someplace else and put it into that.
Yeah, but we also said, which I think is true, we did not see any convincing evidence for the existence of aliens.
Okay.
Now,
see, there's your problem. You didn't lie.
And you know, not seeing convincing evidence doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but that means there's no convincing evidence.
Absolutely.
Hi, I'm Ernie Carducci from Columbus, Ohio. I'm here with my son Ernie because we listen to Star Talk every night and support Star Talk on Patreon.
This is Star Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I know you very well as not only a friend, but as a fellow astrophysicist. So we have very strong overlap in our training and our brain wiring. You don't want everyone on the committee to have exactly that same brain wiring. So who else was on the committee? What was the nature of their expertise, and who selected them?
I was selected by NASA. I was involved in advising as committee chair who was there. So we had a pretty diverse set of people coming from oceanography, atmospheric science, because there's a lot of atmospheric phenomena, so experts on the ionosphere, some science policy people.
The ionosphere, a layer of the upper atmosphere that is
Charged.
ionized. Yeah, yeah.
That's where we get the Northern Lights.
Yeah.
Does that happen in the
Well,
ionosphere?
I maybe be higher.
Yeah, it does?
Yeah, it does.
But it starts there and it goes. The ionosphere is usually above that.
Right.
So a lot northern lights are usually a bit lower, but it's connected phenomenon.
Okay.
And
certain radio frequencies of radio waves reflect off of the ionosphere. Interesting things can happen with the ionosphere that wouldn't happen in any other layer.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Okay, so go on. So
we had some people from the intelligence community, right? Because they have a lot of satellites looking down.
Okay. So they would have had clearance even if you didn't.
That's right.
Yes. Okay.
We had some
in their own business.
In their own business. We had some people from technology companies.
Good.
Right.
Who were familiar with some of the technologies out there, some of the things we can use from space to look down and see what was going on. We had
so some thought went into this.
Yeah,
Very encouraging.
lots of different perspectives around the table.
Right.
It was actually a really good group of people that I learned a lot from.
All right, so you had your role in the hearings, but did you watch all the rest of the hearings?
I watched some of it, not everything.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts or reflections?
There were some amazing things that came out that were fun to watch. I don't know if you remember these bodies that were of aliens that were shown to the Mexican Parliament.
The Mexican Parliament. Yeah, the Mexican mummies. The Nazca mummies in Mexico put on display. They're like 3 feet tall.
Right.
And there's like 2 or 3 of them. Yeah.
Yeah. And there were
that came out while you were...
That came out while we were doing it.
Yeah.
And that was one of these things you look at and say, wait a second. If you actually have something that you think is interesting, what you should do with it is send samples around. Right? Like, send the samples to 100 labs around the world. And if it's not human DNA, we'll find out quickly.
Without the bias that might be inherent in who produced the bodies.
Right.
But in addition, when I saw that, I said that's exactly what we should be doing if we have crashed alien bodies. We should put them on display. But no one did that. In the testimony, everyone kept saying, those who claimed it existed said it's in a locked box, and then you can't come and look at it. And I thought to myself, an alien in a locked box that you're not showing anybody is the same thing. There's no alien in a locked box. Scientifically, it's the same thing.
Right.
So how
Can I ask something? I mean, to both of you.
Yeah.
What would be the impetus for not showing the fact that these aliens exist? Why would the government hide this? If because conspiracy theorists have their own, but why?
I'll turn it around.
Go ahead.
I've worked with government agencies for a long time. Government agencies leak. And if anyone's going to get more funding from the leak, it definitely leaks. So I'm running a lab.
That's the answer right there.
So I am running a lab that had some secret alien stuff. If it leaks and there's lots of information and the alien bodies are shown, I get more funding.
Of course.
So one of the reasons that I don't believe the conspiracy theorists is I trust people to look out for their own economic self-interest. And, the government leaks everything all the time.
My favorite quote is from Ben Franklin, from his Poor Richard's Almanac.
Yes.
It said, 3 people can keep a secret if 2 of them are dead. There it is.
Right.
The foundational documents of the country.
Yeah, that's it. Right.
But why didn't they bring forward
Because maybe they don't exist.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So the big concern is there could be some kind of alien technology that is so far beyond us that it could pose a security risk. And you're saying even in the 1% of the things you could not explain, there was nothing there that, whoa, this could be future technology. Because think about what anything today that's flying through the air would look like to anybody 100 years ago. So it doesn't take much time, Delta, to possibly freak someone out about how advanced you are.
Yeah. So that's part of the story of Area 51, right? Which was our military was developing advanced technologies. And those were secret.
This is a Cold War. Yes,
Cold War.
Yes.
And think about drones. Imagine you saw a drone 25, 30 years ago.
Right.
You'd never seen one.
Right.
Just moving.
Just moving in any direction that it wanted,
up and down,
all along any axis.
Any axis, instantly. Yes.
You would think and with no human in control,
Right.
you would think a drone that we're totally used to is an alien spaceship. Right. And, so there's technologies out there. If you look at a lot of the reported events, there are a number of them those events were associated with things seen by military pilots. And you have to ask yourself, who is going to be trying to see what our military pilots are doing? They fly all the way here from some other planet to study our planes deployed outside of Taiwan? Or is it the Chinese? And one of the things that came out during our study, you may remember this Chinese balloon?
Yes.
Right.
We love the Chinese balloon.
Yeah.
Right. So it is very clear that the United States...
Did we shoot it down? We shot it down.
We
shot it down.
We shot it down.
The United States is spying on the Chinese military. The Chinese are spying on the U.S. military. This is like their job.
Right.
And so part of the security value of monitoring and getting this information. And so if I remember correctly, back in, was it the 60s? The government did not disavow UFO sightings. They wanted to promote people's awareness of them in case they saw something that Russia was sending over. And then we get firsthand knowledge because people are everywhere and the military isn't. And so there was strategic value to this as far as the military is concerned. That's still the case.
You look at the war in Ukraine, and both the Ukrainians and the Russians are relying on citizens following drones. They've got apps on their phones.
That's right.
When you see a drone fly over, so they know to shoot it down.
Yeah.
So where are we now in this? Why were there still hearings just a few weeks ago, a year after these other hearings, when I thought everything got aired as much as it needed to be?
I think people like conspiracies. People want to believe.
Yeah, they do.
And people are not comfortable with ambiguity, right? To say, we look at lots of data and there's a few things we don't understand. They'd rather jump to some exciting conclusion
than to sit there in ignorance.
Yeah, it makes you feel better though,
Because every science, you hit something you don't understand, that excites us.
Right.
We don't immediately come up with an explanation. We might have an hypothesis, but not without justifying it with more data or better data.
I mean, let's be honest, most people are not scientists. Most people see a splotch on a piece of toast and they're like, it's Jesus! So let's be honest.
I've seen some pretty good Jesus renderings, though. There's some good ones.
There's been some good ones,
It's Renaissance Jesus, though.
Yeah, well, it's always.
That's when he was most painted, probably.
Right.
Yeah, Jesus in most of those paintings looks like he's from the local town. There's a lot of blonde Jesuses.
Right, yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, you never get Afro Jesus.
Afro Jesus
on the piece of toast. Pulled the toast out the toaster oven, I couldn't believe it. Afro Jesus.
And since Jesus was Jewish, it'd be a Jewish Afro.
It would be.
Right, that's how that would have happened.
Yeah.
Definitely. Now, in our field, in science in general, we greatly devalue eyewitness testimony if we have another way of obtaining the data. With UFOs, it's kind of only eyewitness testimony because it comes upon you, not when you're all ready with measuring equipment. And so apart from the smartphone, what else does someone have to offer you but the eyewitness testimony that they've experienced?
Eyewitness testimony is just not very reliable. I mean, this is something that we've learned about.
Talking to a black man here. Just saying.
Yeah, so there's a lot. I mean, this isn't aliens, right? This is just a lot of court cases of people who were unjustly convicted.
Positively identified. By eyewitness.
And then...
And even without malicious intent. Sometimes malicious, but most times not. Just people going, no, that's him, that's the one. Or because they were shown something, shown a
With
picture.
the lights on? No, actually.
Right. Yeah. I was 3 blocks away.
And there's just lots of problems with eyewitness testimony.
Right.
And I think this is actually more important for understanding things in the context of our justice system than
for
aliens.
UFOs, right, of course.
Right. But we have cameras. We don't have to have cameras. We have early warning radar systems. I mean, when we step back and think about what data does the military have, what data does the scientific community have, we are monitoring space and the environment around us all the time.
And I further add to that, I think I ran the numbers on this. There's 1 million people at any given moment who are airborne with a window right sitting next to them.
That's right.
And so if the mothership is coming, we can totally crowdsource that.
We also monitor every